空よ 足と収束本元年心上満得意三害用女仏無下地通達に不詳願学営力都市最小村悲願や国家大戦王感動国書天人と内妙慶ナマンダンブナマンダンブナマンダンブナマンダンブナマンダンブナマンダンブガネシクドク平等聖祭道本菩提心往生ナモアミダナマウダナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダ
The Golden Chain. I am a link in Amita's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I will be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amita's chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our virtual Gotanye service, and thank you for joining us. Please join me in Gassho for a reading from Shinran's Hymns of the Pure Land. When sentient beings think on Amida, just as a child thinks of its mother, they indeed see the Tathagata, who is never distant, both in the present and in the future. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Today is our annual Gotanye service. Gotanye is a birthday observance for Shinran Shonen. Traditionally, gifts are given to someone who's celebrating a birthday. But on this day, we observe the birth, life, and teaching of the founder of Jodo Shinshu tradition. We come to see that we are the ones receiving the gifts of Shinran's teachings and practice of Buddhism. Shinran was born on May 21st, 1173, to Lord and Lady Arinori, who are said to be of noble blood and were members of a branch of the Fujiwara clan, one of the very powerful clans that ruled during that period. Early in Shinran's life, his parents both died. In 1181, despite desperate to know what happens after dying, he entered the Shorin-in temple in Kyoto at the young age of 9. It's said he wrote this famous poem on entering, which can be read, "Like cherry blossoms are the hearts that tomorrow think they might, for who can tell but there may be a tempest in the night." There are other translations of that poem. I have a couple of them here which seem to me to be a little bit clearer. The first one says, "Like the cherry blossom, the heart planning on tomorrow is fleeting indeed. What sudden storm may not arise in the middle of the night?" Another one reads, "The love and friendship that you believe will come tomorrow can be blown away like cherry blossoms in an evening gale." Losing his parents at such an early age made Shinran acutely aware of his own impermanence. He was desperate to find a solution. He then practiced at Mount Hiei for the next 20 years of his life. There are letters between his wife and daughter which indicate that he was a Tendai monk on Mount Hiei. According to his own account to his wife Eshinni, whose letters are preserved in the Honganji, he became frustrated at his own failures as a monk and at trying to attain enlightenment. He took a retreat at the temple of Rokakudo. There, while engaged in an intense practice, he experienced a vision in which Avalokiteshvara appeared to him as Prince Shotoku, directing Shinran to another disillusioned Tendai monk named Honen. In 1201, Shinran met Honen and became his disciple. During his first year under Honen's guidance, at the age of 29, Shinran is said to have attained enlightenment, or salvation rather, through Amida's vow. Though the two only knew each other for just a few years, Honen entrusted Shinran with a copy of his most important and secret work, the Shinchakushu, which means passages on the selection of the Nimbutsu in the original vow. During his time as a disciple of Honen's, Shinran caused a great stir among society by publicly getting married and eating meat. Both practices were strictly forbidden for monks, but Shinran took these drastic steps to show that Amida's salvation is for all people and not just for monks and priests. During my stay and my visits to Japan, I've been able to visit many of the historical temples and sites. But unfortunately, I have not been able to visit Shinran's birthplace in Hino, which is a small town southwest of Kyoto. The temple that stands at this site of Shinran's birthplace is called Hino Tanjo-in, or Birth Temple in Hino. It's said that on the grounds there is a bronze statue depicting Shinran when he was aged 6 years old, and a stone monument with the poem inscribed on it. The poem is the one I mentioned earlier in my talk. This poem was written by him on the eve of his ordination, Tokudo Shiki, the ordination rites. There are other spots of interest on the temple grounds to see, such as a Ubuyu no Ido, or a well from which water for a newborn infant's first bath was drawn. So this well is said to be providing water for the first bath of the baby Shinran. But I'll pause here to tell of an experience in my own life. My first daughter was born while I was living in Japan in the late 1960s. She was born in a local Japanese hospital, where when we were ready to take her home for the first time. As we were leaving, we were given a small wooden box. We were given a kotobuki bako. I was told that inside the box was the Heso no O, I slipped a small box into my pocket and excitedly took mother and new baby home. Later I found out the kotobuki bako means the umbilical cord box, and the heiso no translated meant tail of the belly or umbilical cord. So Japanese hospitals typically place part of the umbilical cord that falls off in a traditional box specifically designed for this purpose. When the mother leaves the hospital, the umbilical cord is given to her. The Japanese custom is based upon the belief that the umbilical cord has a direct relationship to the health of the baby. I mentioned this kotobuki bako because there is another very interesting spot on the temple grounds at Hino, Tanjuin. There stands a tree with a plaque reading that the umbilical cord of Shinran Shonin is buried beneath it. Many people keep these little boxes with them all their lives. If you ask them why they keep it, and the explanation most likely to be offered is that the cord deserves to be honored and saved for posterity because it is a link to one's mother. This is a notion rooted in Japan's strong and sentimental views on the connection between a mother and her child, even into adulthood. Now, perhaps during Shinran's study and practice, he encountered the writings of Genshin Shonin, the sixth patriarch of our Jodo Shinshu lineage. Genshin wrote the following about his mother. Genshin says, "It was my mother who made me perfect in practice, and it was I who enabled her to attain the end well. A mother and a child each becoming the teacher. This could only be the happy fruit of past karma." I believe undoubtedly Shinran thought of his own mother when he came across this passage. He realized that his mother continued to be an influence on his life, and to have encountered the teachings of the Buddha was due in a large part, I would say, because of his mother. Shinran must have felt a deep sense of gratitude to his mother at that very moment when he read what Genshin had written. Earlier this month, we celebrated Mother's Day, and today we celebrate Shinran's birthday. If your mother has passed away, know that like Shinran, your mother's influence continues to guide you and you're living the life of Nembutsu. If your mother is still with you, please thank her for all she has given and taught you through the years. If you are a mother, happy belated Mother's Day. In closing, once again, join me in Gassho. When sentient beings think on Amida, just as a child thinks of its mother, they indeed see the Tathagata, who is never distant, both in the present and in the future. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida, Namo Amida. Thank you for listening to my message, and have a wonderful rest of your day.